Hi, everybody. So that's right, we're back on the tanks. This is my friend Michael, a commercial pilot, who lives in London. He's over for he flies a route now over to California on occasion, and so wants to come by and see the build. So he's here with the build, and we are attaching the baffle to the top of the left fuel tank. And so everything's in place. One thing I've forgotten to mention is before we went through, so we cleaned out the inside of the tank, took some lint-free cloths and rubbing alcohol and cleaned everything out as best we could. Also, just made sure the tank float, so that the fuel sender is in place as well. Everything is in place. Would hate to have put that together and left the fuel sender off, because that would have just been a tragedy. So now we're just going back and forth, and what we'd like to do in order to avoid ripples or avoid any kind of twist, and maybe this is one of the reasons I've been able to avoid a twist, is whenever I rivet together long features such as control surfaces, etc., I always start from the middle and work my way out. I don't just start from one end and go all the way down to the other. It's been kind of gray and poopy around the San Francisco area lately, which is typical. You know, January to late March is always just gray. We've had a ton of rain. The ground is soaked. It's chilly, so we get this morning fog and 800-foot overcast. You can see it out the hangar door right there. That's not blue. That's just all gray. And it stinks. I was supposed to go flying today. We've got a new plane that I need to get about 10 hours of dual on, and there's no right weather to get the dual, so not dueling today. Today I'll be working on ferry permits and trying to track down a barrel of oil and all kinds of other stupid shit. So, yeah, just going across. That's all we're really doing here. The one thing that I almost screwed up on, so when you're countersinking the baffle, so on the skin, there's countersinks for the baffle. You don't need to dimple it. You can just countersink it. You leave every 10th hole uncountersunk so that the clecos have a better grip on the skin and help with the alignment, reduces twisting, make sure everything's properly seated. Almost accidentally riveted one right into there, so. Yes, okay, so here we're also doing the end attach brackets. So the end attach brackets use, they use dome head rivets. You don't have to use pop rivets. And unfortunately, it's in no position anywhere where you can actually get squeezer in, so you got to use a rivet gun. And those all seem to go on pretty good. There's 7 attached brackets, 2 face to one side, and the other 5 face the other direction. And don't forget that the very inboard one is the special attached bracket that doesn't have any nut plates on it. Let's see, any other pitfalls? There's 2 different sizes of pop rivets for the top. There's one bag, and it's specifically for the attached Z's and the baffles and ribs. And then there's a second set because there's one rivet on either side of the attached Z's that aren't on the Z's, and they're a little bit shorter, so you got to make sure to use the right ones there. Yes, so once you're done, so you saw me applying some extra sealant there. The backs of those ribs, of course, it's kind of like the inboard side that we did many videos ago, where the two pieces of the inboard rib, right, they all have the little flanges that are used to attach. And whenever you have flanges around a rib, you have to have cutout holes, stress holes. Well, you've got those same things here on the main ribs as well. And you can't forget that once you put that baffle on top, you're going to have these little like 1/8 to, oh, let's see, 8, 4, 3/32. These tiny little holes between the baffle and the rib. So you need to go and you need to plug those up with sealant, which is kind of amazing if you consider that really in the end, all the rivets in the world mean nothing. The only thing that's really holding that fuel into your tank is sealant, and it does its job. So anyway, tank is done for now until the sealant's dried, and then I can go back and finish those other two, or the non-countersunk holes. Want to thank my friend Michael. Michael, you're awesome. Don't forget to come back every month and help me plug away at this. Coming up next, there's my buddy Derek. Coming up next, we'll go back to the spar and do the final prep for putting the ribs on. So see you soon.